We're good to go?
Go for it.
All right. The Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 Parks and Rec Commission meeting. It is 6:33. We are in session, call to order. We're just gonna wait until we get Saul on the line here.
I don't see him on there.
He was waiting. Oh, now he's not waiting.
Again.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to keep working on that? We'll just kind of go through. All right, so commissioner updates. Are there any commissioner updates?
I attended the PBMC meeting as a kind of listener. Didn't have access to, they didn't see me on the screen and they didn't give me audio, so just listened. And I think a little later on, Alicia, we're going to talk about this, right?
Yeah.
A little. The key thing is getting the scope and deliverable related to the project to town meeting on the 7th of May. And I think I wrote somewhere down that documents would be available on March 6th, and I don't know if that's the case or not. Do you know? That was something they mentioned.
But you're talking about for like the actual quotes and things?
Yeah.
It was April, I have it
Or bids
written on
due
there.
April 3rd.
Yep.
Oh,
So
so it's the
it's-
documents and okay.
So the, any companies looking at putting in, for that bid are able to look at those documents.
Gotcha.
So that will be open until April.
And outside of that, it was pretty a frenetic meeting. Kind of rushed through things.
Yeah.
I'll be on it again tomorrow. And I don't know if we figured out if, and I didn't check in with Diane on whether I'm a associate member or I'm a listener.
Yeah, it was because it was kind of odd. They originally told us that you were supposed to get sworn in and then now you're not.
Yeah,
So
and
you have not officially been sworn in, so there's a little confusion as to what his role
it
is.
seems a little awkward because
Yeah.
I really wouldn't vote on anything else except what pertains to us.
Right.
But I'll be there tomorrow. Good, virtually.
Nothing at the moment, sir.
All right, nothing here either. All right, so we've got 2 minutes to do, right? Except, right, is it? It's all in there?
Really strange. Yeah, Saul is
Yeah.
in.
Okay. Wait, can you hear us?
He should. Saul, can you hear us? You're on mute.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Wow.
Kind of.
He's in a foreign land here. All right, so we've got 2 sets of minutes, right? January and
Yes.
February. All right, were folks able to review the minutes from January and February?
Yes.
All right. Can we just do one as a package deal or do we have to do them individually?
We can do package deal.
All right, so if there's no questions, comments about the minutes, if we could get a motion to accept January and February.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for our January 9th and February 13th meeting.
I'll second those.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I think it has to be a roll call.
Yeah, roll call.
Oh,
That's all.
thanks, Saul. All right, so all in, sorry, so for acceptance of the minutes, Scott,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Saul,
Yeah,
there he is, and Kevin is a yes.
So just a really quick update on the EV charger port at 300 King. So LELWD is going to put in the 10,000 towards installing that second electrical panel at the park to be able to make sure that the EV charger is going to be powered on a separate meter so that way the cost of everything stays separate. Additionally, Diane Dickerson put in a request for an extension for the grant since obviously we did not install it by March 1st. So now we will have until September 2024 to do that. So that's just plenty of time to do that. Okay. Yeah, special events updates. So this one was just kind of fun. We had our Father Dire dance, ties and tiaras, and we had about 83 parents and 106 kids that attended. So total of 189. I took a little bit of video, so I just wanted to show it because it's really cute. Oh, it's not gonna play. What? No sound. There you go. Just wanted to share a little bit of that because it's good fun.
Were there any door crashers this time?
No, we had, everybody got there except for 2.
Yeah.
So we do good.
Yeah, nice.
It's a great event.
So I don't know, the next couple are special events, so I don't know if you want to cover anything. Moving on to.
Yeah, so the next thing that we have coming out is we're doing breakfast with Bunny and the community egg hunt. So there are spots available on Sign Up Genius right now for the 3 breakfast seatings, which are 8:45, 9:30, and 10:15. Working with the Council on Aging and Human Services in order to get the eggs stuffed. Charlie will be doing pancakes again, and we have some senior volunteers coming down to help bus tables and get everything going. We've been doing, this will be our 3rd year that we've worked with them. So just super fun event. And then the egg hunt out back obviously is a sight to be seen. It's 3 weeks worth of work gone in 30 seconds. But it's pretty awesome. So all the information is on the Facebook page under events or on the town website under events. So you can check everything out there. Just make sure you bring your own basket for the egg hunt and make sure that you are not late. If you are there it starts at 11, it ends at 11:23.
Less than that. Sometimes.
11 o'clock and 23 seconds. So that's what we have coming up. Do you have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it Easter weekend or the weekend before?
It is Saturday before, yep. So it's the Saturday before.
Yep.
Saturday the 30th and then Easter's on the 31st.
Okay.
So coming down the pike, we got Touch a Truck. This is that we're reaching out right now, trying to get people to get registrations. So far, we've reached out to all of the departments in town. We've reached out to the National Guard, the state police. We've had a couple of people reach out to us. So we're doing well. We did get permission. The new town administrator was able to secure 550 King Street parking lot. So, we've had trouble in the past of this event growing and growing and growing with the amount of people. As of yesterday, we had 12,000 people interested in the event as per our Facebook page. So, we're right back where we were pre-COVID at this point. Some of this stuff.
Couple thousand.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we'll keep getting stuff together. But if anybody in the room knows of anybody who has cool stuff, cars, trucks,
You need
tractors.
smoking?
What's that?
Do you need smoking?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Smokey the Bear.
Mhm.
I mean, we're never gonna turn down Smokey the Bear.
Check on it.
You
All
can
right.
hang out with the fire department.
What's that?
You can hang out with the fire department.
So yes,
We usually do, yeah.
Saturday, May 4th, 9 a.m. to noon, 9 to 10 will be our century hour, no horns, no lights. And then 10 o'clock, it will be, make sure you have earplugs.
Yes.
All right.
All right, so director update. So we're gonna go through just a couple of things here. So the first piece, I just kind of want to give an update on some of this. So we did get a initial letter from Melissa Cryan from DCR. And there's probably about like 14 different things that we need to be able to update. So we're working with Dodson and Blinker to do that. We had a call with Amy, Green from Conservation and myself and Eli. So we're going through itemizing all of those, and fixing those components out. Rob is here, so I did want to say that we did talk about the, comments that were put in by Clean Lakes, and that is something that they're going to be able to add into the document.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. So that is something that will, since we've got this little bit of time here to be able to fix the items that Melissa needs, we'll have time to be able to.
That's great.
Okay. So currently we've received letters from the planning board, which is required. We do need to have that. Light and Water Commission, Conservation. I know that I'm working with Jim, our town administrator, to be able to complete that one. That's also a required document. And Eli is working with MAPC, which is the third required. Everything else is just kind of an extra bonus. The one that we have crafted for you guys to vote on tonight, if you would like to, is an approval or an acceptance from the Park and Rec Commission. So the actual letter is up here. I have one copy, Kevin, because I know you need to have an in-person copy.
Alicia, did you change the date by chance?
On that document, I did not. I said I was going to. Thank you. So it doesn't matter. I have to change that date anyway, so you have to sign it another time.
All right.
Um,
I'll just swing by the office.
Yeah, other than the date, everything else remains the same. Yeah, we'll have to change the two dates that are up there.
So we just need a motion. Are there any questions, comments, concerns about the letter? Aside from the date?
The date. I was trying to be clever and put in the like today's date and
That's good.
All right. Motion to approve the letter for do we have this for the open space and recreation plan?
support of, yeah.
In support of.
Yeah.
The open space and recreation plan.
Make a motion to approve the support letter, with the date change.
All right, all those are, no, so yes, all those, no, I
Nope.
can't do the roll call, I can do the roll call, sorry. For acceptance of for the support of the letter, Peter,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Saul? Saul, did we lose you? Well, I will vote yes, and we will try to get Saul back on the line.
I'm gonna switch this over for Tim right now, and then I'll see if I can get Saul back on, but yeah, he's gonna review our annual beach letter.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to obviously go into full spring and summer mode, which includes opening up Long Lake and getting our staff. As such, just kind of some stuff in preparation. So we had a preliminary meeting with the Long Lake Neighborhood Association, Anna Mayer and Tess. And, you know, we had some really good communications and talks about how we can do some stuff that'll mutually benefit each group and, you know, hopefully keep the lines of communication open a little better here in the future. We talked about some of the different places to find information and just, you know, swap some emails and some phone numbers to hopefully clear up those lines. On top of that, took the letter that we had sent out last year and did an edit for this year. You know, I took pictures and stuff out, put just kind of some real hardline data, so phone numbers, email addresses, essentially, you know, laid out start to finish when we open and, you know, when camp gets there and just some like high level information. Broke it down into operations, beach rates, important dates for the year. So those are really kind of all of the heavy hitting things that we generally get questions about. I will point out on here that we do not yet have the dates for any of the lake cleanups, being, when Clean Lakes hires the company. Solitude is normally who comes out. We don't have any of that information yet, so that's something that we'll have to say at a later date. Just, pretty much the exact same paragraph on after hours emergency, and then just kind of adding some stuff in on water quality testing, because that's another piece that we feel a lot of phone calls about. So kind of put the letter together. If you guys want to get a chance to read it over, we'll get these mailed out to the neighbors. So if anybody within a 1,500-foot vicinity of town road. So it was 200.
The lake, the lake itself, so it's about 282 households.
So we'll mail those out just like we did last year. Obviously, it's March instead of June. So, when that was brought to us last year, it was kind of, we were way behind and a lot of things were already. So we'll send this out. Hopefully, we still encourage everybody, email us, call us, we can figure it out. I did invite everybody. Obviously, we're going to speak at the Long Lake Neighborhood Association meeting. We were invited next Thursday night. Just a quick little high level stuff. And then I invited in the letter, anybody who wants to come to the April meeting here. Just, any concerns after the letter goes out, any questions, that way you guys can be, privy to that. And there's a good forum for everyone to be able to be heard and ask the questions that need to be asked prior to us really starting to get.
Right, any questions?
It's like delayed. Okay. So just a quick update on 36 King Street. So currently the RFQ is out. April 4th is that deadline that we were talking about earlier. So that will give us about 22 business days to review the quote and amend anything in those action item lists that may potentially be able to bring that price down a little bit more. So that will definitely be a discussion that will be happening within the first couple weeks of April. There is a PMEC meeting that will be tomorrow evening. And we've definitely had some preliminary discussions sitting down with the school department, just talking about operational usages and how that will work in the long run. So those will have to be ongoing conversations, but currently, it's a pretty good conversation that we had to start with. So that is pretty much where we're at with that. Any questions? All right, so. There we go. All right, so going back to our fiscal updates. So this is our year to date where we're at. So we're just a little bit over the revenue in the expense wage balance. So we're doing pretty good for right now. Yeah, so the general fund, that's the full amount that will be given for our fiscal year 2024. So that extends out a little bit further. So that covers things like my salary, Tim's salary, utilities, and special events funding. So yeah, that all equates to that $263,000 amount. So thus far, yeah, we spent about $544,000 in wages. And remember, our fiscal year starts from July, goes all the way through June. So that includes 2 full months, the busiest months of our summer. So that's why the wages would be up there a little bit more expensive. Expenses and general revenue. So, right on, we're doing really good. January and February were 2 of the best months that we've had in a really, really long time. And we did definitely have like an early bird rate. We advertised that, so that was gonna end on March 1st. So, I think we saw a lot of people signing up, in advance. I think, what did Cass say, the first week of camp, there's only like 25 spots. So, to be mid-March and we're already, almost sold out, that's pretty impressive. So if anybody's waiting to sign up for summer programs, don't wait, please do it as soon as possible. So yeah, any questions? No? All right, so new business. I took the liberty of approving this already, but I figured I would bring this to you guys and, officially get a vote, but, Eva Avalon, who, has been in our community for the last 40 years, she passed away, and her daughter would like to, do a celebration of life for her, in Pave Park. So like I said, I've already given her, a permit, not charging them anything for it. I know when Eva was alive, we did something similar for her husband, Jack, who passed away, in 2018. One of the things that I've just learned over the last couple of weeks that I don't think, a lot of people perhaps had known, because she didn't speak about it very often, but she was a Holocaust survivor that came to the United States when she was, 14 years old. So, Eva was a very lovely, wonderful spirit. Yeah, we're honored to be able to, have her family celebrate her life that day. So, I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys to vote on, just to make everything official.
Any questions? Concerns? All right, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the celebration of life at Pave Park on April 27th.
A second?
Call it that way. Scott?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Kevin's a yes. Is Saul back with us?
He was.
All right.
He's
He's not with us.
Just so that you guys do know the full scope, they are, going to most likely have some tents and, some other stuff, so I should let you. And I already gave them information for porta potty company, tent company, all the stuff that, ones we generally use, that know where they can and can't go and what to do down there, so.
Is there a rain date? Just, I mean, it's probably pretty soaking wet there now. I assume it's drying out, but is it just gonna be sort of rain or shine kind of thing?
I think we'll double check back in, but I think with tents and things like that, I think the intent is to have it, make sure. But, obviously, we probably have them set up over on the side closer towards the gazebo, because it will be a bit drier than the water closer to the fire department. So this just popped in, like, I think it was last Friday. So the Rotary Club donated $1,000 to go towards the Youth Scholarship Fund. So again, that was something I wanted to go through that process of having you guys, approve that so that we can go to the select board and then get that approved. Yeah, get it into, scholarship fund. So, yeah, because this will be important over the next couple months of having these funds in there.
Questions, concerns? Motions?
Yeah, make a motion to accept the Rotary Club, nomination for the scholarship fund.
All right, Scott?
Second?
Oh, that's right. You just decided. Yeah. Get these Robert's rules of order down, yes. All right, so seconded. All right, Scott?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Kevin's a yes. Saul? All right,
That's like,
And a few words.
I know.
so some old business, just as a reminder, the MRPA conference is coming up. Yes, Tim.
Can we just put something on our new business real quick? Sure. So just give everybody an update. We are meeting with St. Anne's tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
So it has been 2 years that we've been trying to pull this meeting together. For those of you who don't know, we generally have a contract with St. Anne's, to an agreement to utilize the field behind St. Anne's in order to, in lieu of payment, we take care of the fertilization, the mowing. Highway department spends right around $6,000 to $7,000 a year on that particular piece of property. Unfortunately, as the rumor mill turns, it, kind of went through and there was some miscommunication that the user fees that we were charging were profits that we were making off of the use of the field. Everyone here knows that is not the case. So just for round numbers, if soccer has 100 kids playing on those fields, that's $30 a head. So, we have our $3,000 there, which doesn't even come close to covering the cost of maintaining St. Anne's, let alone the other green space that we utilize those user fees for. Just remind everybody, on top of whatever the shortcoming is, those funds come out of highway, they come out of Park and Rec programming. So that was one of the things that we've tried to communicate. Ultimately, what it came down to was because there was this misunderstanding that we were making money off of use of the field. The idea was that they had wanted to have the parking lot seal coated and repaired. It's not soccer parents who are breaking up the parking lot. It is the tractor trailers that park there every night. So ultimately, we're going into the meeting tomorrow with the same agreement that we've had all the way up to 2021 when the contract was terminated to 22.
Yeah.
When the contract was terminated. And really what we're looking for is that here's the contract. We cannot do any of this extemporaneous work. It's just not something that the town can do for another nonprofit in town. We found this out when they did CPC funding for the windows of the, other church in town. So we just don't have leverage to do this kind of things. And, the message is just that we're not making money off of it. We're collecting funds to help cover the costs because that is something that's not funded anywhere else. So we'll see how it goes. On top of that, we do have some other things that we'll talk about next month with some fields that most likely are not coming back to us as quickly as we hope to. So, but we're still waiting for some information before we talk about any of that. And we just found out yesterday, we need to replace the netting on Kerber. So I just got that quote in from Ben yesterday.
Along with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that beating this winter with the high winds and everything else we had. So all the attachment points and everything are completely gone. I did reach out to Brad Lang to see, did soccer have any money that they wanted to put at it. Have not had the opportunity to reach out to Light and Water because they do, obviously they had built that field. And it is their property, so just trying to look at what resources we do have, but we are gonna end up replacing that before the season starts.
Before spring season or fall?
The goal is before spring season. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be utilizing that field to the max, just like we were in the fall, unfortunately.
Will you make sure to just clarify that any funds that come in from the sports organizations go into a specific field maintenance line that is not touched for anything other than field maintenance?
Yeah, and that was why I had requested not only the munis numbers,
Right.
that was the other report that I needed. To do that. Steve Yonley's bringing what the numbers are gonna be for this year, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've said that before, but I feel like that gets lost in the wash sometimes. Yeah.
Sorry about that. That was kind of just
Thank
popped
you.
up.
That was good, yeah. All right, so. All right, so old business, just a reminder, the Massachusetts Recreation and Parks Association Conference is coming up next week. So a couple of things. We will have the office closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. Our programs will still run, but that is to allow the majority of our staff to be able to go and attend this conference for professional development. It's a really great experience. We also have been nominated and chosen, nominated and chosen to win Agency of the Year. So, and a lot of that is because of, John Kazanian's programming. So we will have, Kaz accept the award. But, Jim, our town administrator, is going to come that evening as well, and hopefully you will be there too. And,
Be there.
yeah, so that will be a really great experience. It's really, I don't know, I don't have words for it. I still can't believe it. It's such a cool thing. All right. And, so last piece that we had, so we had some, lovely photos from, our professional development, opportunities, the last week. So, Tim and I went to the Director Summit, in Fairfax, Virginia. So there's us with a whole bunch of people on some, very strong playground equipment. Go landscape structures. And the bottom is Kaz's class for the NRPA directors. So the first year in Denver, Colorado. And so he'll complete that director school next year. So there's one more year of that program. But yeah, that would be a good thing to put up there. It's pretty good. They're really, I don't know if you want to say anything about it, but they're just amazing opportunities to meet and network and just discuss things with other people in the field and it's just amazing, no matter how big a city or how small a town, everything is like exactly the same in so many ways. So it's a very large network of people that, you know, support each other in so many positive ways. It's an honor to be in the field, truly. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So before we adjourn, we don't usually have people here, so. Was there anything that you wanted?
Yes, I was told I could come here and speak. My concern is that I'm living in the Long Lake area.
Yeah.
And I do use a walker and I'm having difficulty getting across the sand. And I want to know about the access mats, when they're gonna be put out. And if they can be kept out at a longer time. I mean, when they're out for about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
But you got most of the time, there's a lot of good time in there when people are using
Sure.
beach, and it's difficult, you know. I mean, there's several months that it's good weather. And I just think that somehow we should have access. You know, if you want to call it open space and everything and handicap accessible, well, it's not really handicap accessible.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my concern. I think the mats, obviously, now they're temporary. I think in the long run, it would be great if you could think about something, you know,
It's a little more
permanent. I know that's a long way down the road, but meanwhile, even if the mats could, oh God, I don't want to look at myself. Even if you could get the mats out at a low. You know.
Defer to Tim because.
Actually, this time of year,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
once the snow, excuse me, is gone, and there's a lot of people that, I don't know if you realize or not, but there's several people in wheelchairs
Yep.
that live in the area.
Kind of with the ALS, I mean,
So
Yeah.
you know, and now, like in the wintertime, we were crossing over the lake because it was frozen, the sand. And it was a little easier, even if there was snow on it. Now with the sand, with, you know, everything kind of shrinking a little bit, there's more sand and the walkers keep getting stuck and, you know, it's just difficult. So it seems to me, I don't understand, other than money, why they can't be put out earlier and stay out longer.
So I will give you your answer, but
Yeah, I'd like to speak to that too. So Rob Brown's at 25 Juniper Road. Congratulations on the award, well deserved. My daughter and son moved in here about 6-7 years ago. My wife and I then moved in here about 2.5 years ago because I now have 2 granddaughters that are, you know, they're here. And we have benefited from your guys' work phenomenally. It is a blessing. So thank you. Having said that, I'm just a half block off of Long Lake. And like a half block off of the beach area. So I'm there a lot. I've met her a couple of times, you know, going by as I'm with my granddaughters, etc. I did know with regard to the blue mats, that this past summer, and the guards were very responsive, but the blue mats they're anchored in with a little block, and it's not really a nail, it's nicely rounded and smooth so that somebody won't hurt themselves. But there was a period of time, it lasted several days, again, the guards were quite responsive, but it had all the makings of a little one doing their normal running around thing with really ripping their feet and really getting hurt pretty badly. So, I will just say that because I'm in that area a lot, I see many people that, if you think about where the beach parking lot is, many people, even when the mats aren't there, they make their way to where the mats otherwise are, to that then pathway that leads the intersection of beach and, I don't know if that's lakeshore or whatever. And they kind of congregate there, and it's a beautiful spot, not sand, which is also beautiful, but it's not sand. There's many people off season that use that area because the vegetation is somewhat low to have a beautiful view of the sunset, the sunrises, the whole bit. And so I wanted to just mention before, Tim, I appreciate being able to speak, just because the mat concerned me. Again, it was addressed, and within a few days, honestly, I didn't notice it the rest of the season. So I think it was temporarily taken care of, and then it kind of had a bubble again, and then it was resolved permanently. So I really appreciate what was done. But I will say, I see many people off season using that area and the surrounding area, and anything Alicia knows, I'm quite read up on the OSRP with all the disability and the connections and that sort of thing. And a somewhat of a permanent, I recognize it's money, it's difficulty. There might be very good reasons not to do it. I'm no way an expert, far from it. But I can see where a natural, permanent sort of connection from the parking lot, where the town has already invested substantial sums to create that structure, to connect to that other, what I'll call a viewing area, I think it's in keeping with some of the other aspects of what I read about the OSRP. So thank you for letting me just comment, because this is just something new, and even realize it. That I met her a couple of weeks ago and thought, hey, wait a minute, she's got a good point. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and to your point, last year we were chasing a lot of washout issues. We kept getting those torrential rains, and it was when we could get highway or, pay for a malicious neighbor to come over and help us regrade everything. So, I think, for the most part, we have that kind of hammered out. We have, had many conversations about the beach mats, to the point of, us putting them down seasonally, when we had gone out and looked at a solution for exactly that. We recognized that somebody who was parking over on Lakeshore or walking from Lakeshore Drive had to go all the way up down Goldsmith and then access the Beach of Town Road. So, the conference we're going to next week, about 5 years ago, we purchased the mats that exist now. After speaking to other communities, after talking to DCR, looking at a couple of the different places that they were utilized, and that was the solution that we were able to come up with. It's worked very well for the most part. We do have some washout and drainage issues the way the beach pitches. The biggest reason is our first year we did take them, I think, all the way into almost Thanksgiving. And there is a few very loud people in the neighborhood who do not like the mats, who do not want them there, who wrote the town administrator's office hundreds of times.
Oh,
And they, and we had multiple park commission meetings about it, probably near 25 of them. And we were told, listen, would the mats come up as soon as the beach is over? Like, that was it. So this is the first time somebody, outside of coming up to the beach and asking us this question and saying, hey, we really like the mats here. They provide value, which we 100% agree with. It's just, we have been extremely embattled over the mats because certain residents just didn't want them.
Yeah, but I mean,
Excuse me,
that's fine.
are they complaining about the way they look? What is it that they don't like? If you don't mind, I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't
so-
either, so.
So one of the things that was brought to our attention was that it ruined the way the beach looked because they were blue. They are blue because they're high visibility. If you look at,
Yeah.
handicap specific things, it's the same color as like a parking sign. Which is why they come in that color. They do come in other colors. It was when we were vetting the information. That was the one that was recommended to us for people who had low visibility.
Right.
Also because it didn't blend in with the sand as much. It was recommended because it's not as much of a tripping hazard if you're not, walking, as long as everything's set in right. So those are a couple of the things.
I want to say, that longtime residents of Littleton raised our kids here. And I know you're not the same crew when our kids were young
No.
and accessing the.
Yeah.
Right. But they've always done a fantastic job. Both my kids played soccer on that field you're talking about. And that's kind of a shame that all that's happening. But the town has done a great job. And the Long Lake Beach Association also has done, a good job, but things change, people get older, kids get older, families move out of town. And then other people come in and the view of the lake from where we're talking about, is absolutely gorgeous, but it's so grown up along there that, I was wondering if you could please address that issue. I don't know who takes care of that, but eventually it's gonna turn into swamp.
So are you talking on?
Lake Shore.
Lake Shore. So as soon as, where that brick path ends, sorry.
Sorry, it's conservation.
It's conservation.
Not Parks and Recreation.
It's
It is
conservation.
conservation.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as
Alright,
you
well,
get to
that
that brick
answers that
pathway, it's
question.
conservation. But on the beach side of things, we are prohibited from doing any trimming because of the conservation laws and restrictions when it comes to being within so many feet of water, we can't cut the vegetation.
Yep.
So a lot of that stuff that is grown in,
Right.
especially invasive stuff, they try to pull those things. But as far as the trees and the natural shrubbery and things like that, you can't do that in the
Yeah.
state of Massachusetts, especially on the shore of a great pond. You can't trim that vegetation.
It's never been like that before though.
Yeah.
And eventually all that, the dead debris that falls into that lake, it just eats away the lake and disrupts the shoreline, it's gonna, and I just kind of don't understand why other places can clean up along there and.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I can beg your indulgence for a minute, it'll take me a good minute and a half to get this out. So since coming here, I've started to get involved. I immediately joined LLNA, the neighborhood association. That's been a very good experience. And then I started to hear about this Clean Lakes Committee. And so I've been pretty much a full-time attendant at their meetings. They welcomed me very graciously for the last year. There's things happening that I'm not so certain of why I was coming here tonight. Was just to, I don't want to assume that you folks aren't aware of this, but rather if you are aware of it, then I want to encourage your involvement. And that pertains to this, that as you were just saying in terms of how things are changing, well, back in around 2000, the town of Littleton empowered and authorized through a vote. I assume it's kind of like the May 7th equivalent of the May 7th town meeting that's coming up. And they got approval for the cell tower at Spectacle Pond. Those revenues that come in on an annual basis, now approximately $80,000. Those went directly since the early 2000s into the Clean Lakes Committee Fund. The Clean Lakes Committee Fund was charged at that same, I assume, same sort of town meeting with regard to utilizing those funds for the purpose of cleaning and maintaining, preserving the beautiful lakes that, Littleton's, lucky enough to have. Okay, roll that forward about 2 years ago, the state of Massachusetts DEP came out with a new guidance ruling that resulted in the town doing the proper thing, which was funds on lands owned by our equivalent, Littleton Electric, Light and Water. It disconnected the revenue source to the Clean Lakes Committee and instead took approximately $400,000, don't hold me to the exact dollar, but approximately $400,000 that had amassed for cleaning the lakes flipped it right into the Littleton Electric and Water Enterprise Fund, never to be seen again. I've since followed up, got involved with water commissioners, or Nick Lawler speak, and fortunately, the Littleton Electric Light and Water really recognize their role with regard to sustainable drinking water. So the watershed, they're going to take care of lakes with regard to herbicide treatments and other. Last year, I don't think it was Solitude last year. I think it was a different company that had an eco harvester that was on the Long Lake. I know they were out for about a week to 2 weeks in all of Littleton's lakes, and it did a good job on Long Lake, not so good job on others that actually broke the machine. I say that as background by way of the situation that it looks like for fiscal year 25. It's I'm following the bouncing ball, and I'm trying to be as attentive. So taking to the spirit of what I'm about to say this is my understanding of what's taking place. That Long Lake is isolated right now. It's one of a couple of lakes in Littleton that's isolated, where Littleton Electric Light and Water is doing more than what they need to do with regard to funding for the cleaning and the activities that would previously have been done with the funds directed to Clean Lakes Committee. But Littleton Electric Light and Water no longer supporting Long Lake. Long Lake does not have currently a fiscal year 25 definitive statement with regard to where funding, like for Solitude, as you're saying. Now, are they going to it? John Folsom chairs the Clean Lakes Committee. He received approval from CPC at their last meeting with regard to that the petition or the grant request that he had submitted. Again, I apologize, I don't know the exact terms, but they said, yes, you're eligible. He's now preparing another set of forms, et cetera, which CPC will hopefully approve at their next meeting. I believe they will approve. Having said that, then it goes to the May 7th town meeting for everybody in town to vote for those funds. Where do you fit in? I kind of view it as not just me as a resident nearby Long Lake, but also as Park and Rec, as one of the big. You've got programs that you've got the town beach, the whole infrastructure, everything that's there. And it's my opinion, if those funds aren't routinely made available from CPC on an annual basis, then I find myself also attended a finance committee and select board joint meeting. Here they are, just 2 months ago looking for a $3.5 million cut in the town budget going towards the May 7th meeting. That would have been no time for the Clean Lakes Committee to come in with a bill that the last 2 years has really been destructive with regard to whatever we want to call the experience related to weather, climate, whatever terminology you want to get on board with. It's really taken a toll on the lakes, the vegetation, the growth. If you look at Long Lake today, we're referring to them as muck islands. There are several muck islands that have not existed there before that are now there, quite exposed, preventing access for activities of the nature of fishing and whatnot, like kayaking, which I do, my wife and I do. So I appreciate the indulgence that you've given me to get this out. I think there's a role and an opportunity, I'll almost say a need, with regard to Parks and Rec to align itself with regard to the interests of funding sources or the awareness of we need to combat and do whatever, I'm not the expert, whatever the experts think are the right series of things to do in order to provide for tamping down the vegetation, improving the surface and subsurface waters, et cetera. And so that I really encourage you to follow this. If you want, support CPC at the May 7th or the next, at the next meeting. Again, I think it's going forward. But there's a CPC element with regard to maintenance and annual maintenance versus a capital improvement. And that concerns me a lot because CLC is that this has been an annual thing that they've been doing for decades. The volunteers like you folks are. I see volunteers there who I know, you can just see, they've been there doing this stuff for decades. That nobody knows their faces, their names, etc. But they're there year after year after year. And all of a sudden, those people that know what needs to be done, of attending the meetings and hearing them say, yeah, this is deteriorating, this is getting out of hand. And they don't have the ability to arrange for solitude, or whatever, group to come in and do this stuff. And now they're faced with a new set of eyes and ears as well as the community. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have those eyes and ears on them, but I feel like their voices don't carry the same weight. They used to have the voice and the decision process, take the vote, get it done. Now they do that, and then they have to go to another group who has to go to another group to get approval for funds. So the more, in my opinion, you folks are aware of this and can participate and align yourselves with them or not with them, whatever you think is the right sequence of things to do. But I think it would be a worthwhile activity for this group to be aware of and considering as you go forward. So thanks for the indulgence time.
Well
Appreciate it.
said. Well said.
Thank you.
Okay,
I just want to say, I love Long Lake, lived there for over 40 years. Raised my kids there, it was the best place. I had kids coming from other areas of town. Wanting to come over after school and whatnot, because it was such an awesome place for children. And it was safe, and to see it, I'm just concerned that we're gonna lose the lake if people don't start listening and, like, what did you call those areas? Muck Island, there, you take a walk around the lake, we do it twice a day. And, you'll see.
You're pushing that.
She walks more. I go to the gym and walk, pretend I'm on the way. But very, very noticeable. And if these areas that this gentleman is talking about are not taken care of properly, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna have a lake. It's gonna disappear. So, and you do such an awesome job, and so many kids go to that camp in the summer. It's just a great program. I'd hate to see the lake go. Not in my lifetime, but
Tim.
so I was gonna give you an answer.
Yeah, is it basically the squeaky wheel gets the job done? Is that the deal? I
Well,
mean,
it's, up until now, we've just had one person who has had one opinion and has expressed it to the group. I think I'm in support of it, and, if you guys are, we normally task to put this beginning of May when we get our staff back, if it's something that we can get in April or whatever. I am a one-man show until we have seasonal staff,
yeah,
so.
that's my concern is that can you bring in a little bit more staff for just a little longer?
Yeah, so,
I mean, that's just a concern.
So that was one of the things you and I talked about in our
Yes.
office, and we, unfortunately, a majority of our seasonal staff are folks that either are attending high school, here in Littleton, or they're away at college. So our window to be able to have seasonal help is essentially from middle of May through middle of August. That's it.
But I mean, in
So-
other words, my husband is retired now, and he's like, I don't know, I think he's gonna be 75. But he's just gonna start working for the town up at the cemetery, cutting grass.
Oh, yeah.
And it's up to cut back on the tax. But I'm saying, I think if you put it out there for retired people or anybody, I think,
so regardless of staff,
what was that?
regardless of staffing things. I think the decision of the season of the mats has been based off of kind of a one-sided discussion. And, I'm in agreement, and I think we can find a path forward that, the right thing to do. The reason we got the mats was to provide access to everyone who needs access to what it is. And to your point, yes, the squeaky wheel has gotten grease, but, thank you for coming tonight. And, I think we can say collectively, and these guys are the ones who make the policy. I don't really ultimately make those decisions, but you know, if these guys say, hey, we want to put the mats out tomorrow, well, I'm gonna tell you it's not gonna happen tomorrow, but I can tell you that, you know, I can realistically say that if we continue the weather trend that we have and things like that, it's not outside the realm of possibilities for us to have them in like mid-April.
So what I would say is, I'm 100% in favor of putting them out as long as we can. So as many people can use the lake for as long as possible. My thought is, and we could talk about it more, is maybe we put in that letter before it goes out, I don't know if it's already, we say, and the handicap mat will be out from whenever to when, approximately April, May, whatever, to as long as we can keep it up there. And then I would also, I know this was a riveting meeting and I appreciate your patience. But it may be helpful to come back to the next meeting, just so we have residents saying, hey, we want the mats out.
Yeah.
We need the mats out for us to be able to access the beach. And then maybe we try to have somebody from like the Disabilities Commission here as well, just to sort of be in support. So that if we get the folks who come and say, no, it looks horrible, and whatever, he can say, yeah, you may not like the way it looks, but this is providing access to people who would struggle to have access to it. I think, we're all behind.
I think, I know there's commenting here, but I think that people, that don't like the way they look.
Then look the other way.
Remember,
Yeah.
worked in the medical
Yeah.
field or had a family member that's been handicapped, that especially a child, or a young adult,
Or an old lady like me.
or an old lady like her, that really has every right to access to that lake.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know,
And we had.
I had a brother that was a quadriplegic, and, he like really pushed me into
It's
like
Deb,
opening my
right?
mouth about the handicap rights.
It's Deb, right?
Yes.
Yes, so yeah, well, so just kind of let you know, like I had it in the letter that's everybody's gonna get, that we were like looking around the week of May 6th to kind of start that.
Okay.
We'll talk and we'll see what is realistic.
Mhm.
This is a sand restoration year, so we are gonna have to rip them up at some point when we decide to dump all the sand. For the summer, we do it biannually right now. So we'll be doing that, but yeah, we'll talk and we'll see, and I mean,
Well, I
like I said,
appreciate-
mid-April is a very realistic thing. There's no way I can promise anything's gonna happen
Oh,
prior to that point.
Well,
Are
thank
you
very
looking
much.
long-term though, maybe something more permanent? Is that is in the future?
I mean, that's a great suggestion. It's something we could definitely have a longer conversation about.
We priced-
have capital items, that we go through every year to put on a list to go through the budget process, but.
So the first year when we priced out continuing that paver walkway out of conservation, it came out at like $153,000. Mainly the cost of that was the pavers that are required to
Right.
remain impervious. Because it is that structured. It was also, there were concerns of would the paver shift, are the kids just gonna pick them up and throw them in the lake like they do over at the frog ponds? All of these things that,
Yeah.
we know happen. And that's something that we can work through.
Yeah.
Everything is a possibility, everything is on the
Yeah.
table. Sometimes, things that seem like they should be able to be done and stamp and say, yes, this is the right thing to do, take a long time to do, but we'll work through it to make
Well,
sure that we come up with a better.
No, if it would also be a part of another another commission or something. I didn't know if it all had to fall on you people. I'm not, like, I just don't understand it, but, I just
No,
thought.
and it's great that you're
Maybe somebody
asking,
else.
absolutely. So if it's on the beach proper, it is under the care and custody of the Park and Recreation Commission. But essentially where those pavers start to go out towards Lakeshore Drive,
Yeah.
that part of it is conservation.
That's
So,
conservation.
Yep, so the Park Commission land goes from, it's all sand, so it's like from where the sand starts all the way over to the boat ramp. So that's the section that these individuals would have the care and custody of. So anything in that specific area are things where we can discuss and try to make things better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
We're glad to have people in the audience. We don't usually do this.
Clients.
We become groupies though.
You know, could you tell me like who I could write to?
You can write to these gentlemen, you can write to, town administrator's office.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I had suggested going to speak with them. They
But
have
like I
the-
said, Deb, we're gonna take care of your problem.
Yeah,
First year, I had John Kazanjian out there, it was snowing when we took the mats up, Philip, I'll remind you about it.
Well, like I said, you know, I wasn't aware, but I gotta say, until I started to have to use a walker this
Yep.
year.
Yeah.
It was in the summertime, and I was so thrilled, I was actually able to get myself down to Long Lake.
yeah.
And I sat there and then, you know, like I said, next week I went down, I said, you know, I think I'm gonna cross over and go to the other part. And then I went down there, the hell of a man, they were up, they were gone.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised, you know?
I talked to about 30 people the day we were taking them off, they're like, oh, why are they going away? And yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll make it happen.
okay, well, that's great, thank you. Where's the popcorn?
Yeah. You were supposed to. All right, anything else, folks?
No, I'm good.
All right,
Thank you very much.
yes, thank you for coming, thanks
Well,
for
thank
sharing
you.
your concerns.
Everything.
So the more people that write letters, the better that is, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing is the best, you're on TV, you're here.
Oh,
A letter doesn't get seen, a letter doesn't necessarily get seen by anybody who it's delivered to, right? But
Okay.
here, coming to these venues, having these conversations, it makes us all aware of the situation simultaneously, and then anybody who watches this on TV for the next gets to know too.
I would also say though, when you're here, you're sort of preaching to the choir, if you will. Having these discussions with like select board or other departments, sorry, committees like that, will help because those are, when we were talking about the budget earlier, right? That 296,000.
263,000.
Look at, you wrote it down.
So you got it.
You got it. You're doing a better job than I am tonight. But that's all we get for the entire year from the general fund. Everything else of our department is based off of our programs. So,
Yeah, I think the important piece is, and we talk about this in our beach rate meeting, right? We get a lot of people who are, well, why do I need to pay? Because I walk to the beach.
Yeah.
So exactly all the things that we're talking about right now, the possibility of funding X, doing those things, monies that are brought in from those memberships go directly towards paying the seasonal staff, but they go towards maintenance, they go towards trash removal, they go towards all of the things that are provided throughout the summer. And then revenues that are, generated, and we really don't make a lot of money at Long Lake. We either break even, we lose a little bit, or, the most we've ever come out, I think was like, we were like near 15,000 about a couple years ago. But those are monies, if we can continue the message of, if everybody can help by buying a beach membership, if everybody can get their day passes when they're there, then we can start to have some of these monies to, put to the side and say, okay, yes, this year we're going to try to accomplish this project. And we might not be able to do it on our own. We might need to find a grant. We're in the process of trying to put together a Friends Up group because they're the ones who are able to raise money that, we can't do from our position of being town employees. But there are avenues out there, and I talked to Anna and Tess about some of this stuff in our preliminary meeting that we can all work together to achieve some of these things.
Okay.
And, to be very honest with you, most of the things that we've discussed are probably a minimum of 2 years out and most likely 5 years out.
But what about like the Commission on Disability? I mean, isn't this, it seems like it should just be a given.
they also do not have a whole lot of funding either, so they do what they can. I know that they meet on a regular basis. They have some powerhouse people in that group for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to, we're a small town and there's only so much money to go around and, yeah.
And it might even be a sort of a CPC sort of thing where, right, so the Commission for Disabilities or Disabilities might be able to put in a CPC grant,
Well, I'm sorry,
A
what that,
request.
what that-
Community Preservation Act. And so basically a small portion of tax money goes into a fund and then people apply for different projects around town. That then could, be, and it's gonna get voted on, I think, at town meeting, like there'll be a application process, they'll get approved by CPC. And then it gets approved at town meeting. So that may be a good venue to start too for, maybe looking at a more permanent solution to the walkway instead of the mats. And that might be a sort of more expedient way to get funding in place to at least start the process. So, and that, the more usually like the CPC likes to see collaboration between, conservation, the Disabilities Commission and the Parks and Recs Commission. If all of us put in that we're supporting this project, it just looks better for the application process and also for the town meeting voting.
well, when you read, all the stuff and you talk about Littleton, what a great place to live, and they're talking about all this open space and, access to everything. Well, it's just not that damn easy,
Yeah.
No, you're
but they make it
absolutely
sound like everything's accessible. Well, it's not,
Yep.
you
Right, yep. And that was one of the reasons why when we redid the open space, and recreation plan, we really wanted to highlight that has to be something that we are focusing on in the future. On our capital plans, we have like a reorganization of Fay Park because there are some very brave people in electric wheelchairs that will go down into the park, but it is not by any means accessible.
Yeah,
So that definitely has been part of our goals for quite some time. It's just, government kind of moves at a snail's pace, unfortunately. So. yeah.
Well, I invite you to come to my office anytime and we
Yeah.
can have a bigger conversation and we can figure out kind of how to go forward with it. If
Okay.
our goal is to put a permanent walkway in, then, we can start figuring that out. And that's something that we would formulate a plan for, come up with the quotes, come up with the bids. Then approach CPC with the once it's backed by the Park Commission, say, okay, the Park Commission supports this project. So there's a way forward for us to do that. And if you want to come to my office and sit down and kind of chat about it, we can definitely say, here we go. But, for now, to answer your question, we'll get the mats in as soon as
well, you
possible.
would think, very thing. Yep, appreciate it.
All right, well,
Okay.
anything else?
Okay.
Good. We have a motion.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right, Scott?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Kevin's a yes. Saul? Still not?
You should
Kate?
I'm back to say yes.
It's here.
Yes, yes.
All right, so you got one vote in. All right, so we are officially adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.